Head coach Kelly Sheffield is here. We'll have some opening comments, then take questions.
I'm certainly looking forward to being back in the field house. I think we played 19 matches, and I think only 6 of them have been here. So looking forward to being back here and getting started on this second half of the Big Ten season, and have a heck of an opponent in front of us.
Penn State had some bumps early in the season, changed setters, and now they seem to be like the Penn State you're used to seeing. What's have you observed in scouting them?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a freshman libero and then a transfer setter. Those are 2 pretty important positions that I think they're just trying to get figured out there. I think earlier in the season they were trying to figure out what setter they were going with, and they've certainly seemed to have settled in on one of them that has really added a lot of fire and offense and ability. I think they lost, maybe 3 in a row. I'm sure everybody else was pushing the panic button, but I mean, it was just that they were kind of right there for them. You have and then I think an outside that's been kind of a bench player in the past that's really taken a big role. I think it's just what a lot of teams are doing. It's trying to figure things out. They had a really tough schedule there when they were losing those matches, but you watch them play and you see where their upside and growth potential is, and it's even when they were losing, you knew that was going to be a team that was going to be pretty darn good by the end of the year, and they've certainly leading the Big Ten. That's certainly where they're at.
When you were getting healthy again, people were coming back. For a while, it looked like Romana might be kind of the odd one out in your lineup, but she's kind of pushed her way back in. And what have you seen from her over the last 4 or 5 matches as she's gotten her way back in?
I don't know if it is that she was being pinched out or other people were playing better, and then it was just trying to figure out where everybody should be. We wanted to give Gillis and Haggerty a little bit see what it looked like with them on the right. There were some exciting things that they brought to the table from the right side that we just wanted to take a look at. I don't think it's been anything that she wasn't doing that she is doing now. I just think it's trying to figure out where the pieces kind of fit best, and we weren't able to do that in preseason or pre-conference season. So you're kind of in that odd area of trying to figure it out. Be the first half of the Big Ten season. I think we've kind of got locked in on what we think is going to be our best lineup, and she's been good. I've seen the past couple past few matches, you've seen this incredible strength coming out of her, this determination coming outside of her. She's by nature is kind of a reserved personality, but I've seen a lot of strength coming from her. It's she's I don't know. I like the direction that she's headed.
So it sounds like you're close to figuring out the lineup that you would like to stay with.
Is your follow-up it's about time? Is that where you're going with this? It's
because you had mentioned before that teams were figuring themselves out.
Yeah.
So you must be. It sounds like you're close.
Yeah, I think we've got a lineup that it's time to get good at this lineup. We've played this lineup for 3 matches, and I think prior to these last 2 matches, I think we'd had a different lineup the previous 8, and it's hard to get really good at this particular sport when people are kind of moving all over the place, and it's time for there to be some cohesion and us plowing forward with this. But yeah, I think we've got it figured out.
Early in the year, your defensive numbers, what your opponents' hitting percentages were in the 1s or the 0s, and lately that's been going up. Is that a measure of the competition, the familiarity more in Big Ten play, or has your defense not been as good as it was earlier in the season?
Probably a combination of a lot of that. It's you know, our best left side blocker is actually Bates, and by quite a bit. I mean, she's small, but she's a really good blocker over there, and so our blocking numbers have come down a little bit with moving her in the backcourt. Or so it's kind of a give and take that you have there. You know, probably some of it is us trying to spend a little bit more time offensively in practice to try to, you know, with us changing our lineups around, is probably a little bit more emphasis on that than our backcourt, and that certainly is shown with our numbers. And then I think the other thing is just teams have film, and so you know, you're seeing what a team's weaknesses are. And frankly, I think there was a couple matches in there that our effort and our reads weren't as good as what they needed to be. So it's probably, you know, I don't think it's one thing. I think it's probably a combination of everything. You know, it's yeah.
Your team hasn't had success against Penn State. Your last couple big matches have not gone well. How much of it is your preparation this week is mental, attitudinal, and how much is approach and volleyball?
There's you sit there and you say, you know, hey, every match is worth the same, and it's certainly that's the case. But it's time for us to show up against those guys. You know, we've gotten it handed to us the past couple years for whatever reason. I mean, against elite teams, you know, those were really good teams. But it's you know, this is a new team. It's a new year, but it's it would certainly be disappointing to walk up into that gym this afternoon and us not have fire in our bellies to have a good workout today. Put it that way. That would be very, very disappointing to walk in there, and I certainly wouldn't expect that from this group. But there ought to be a little bit of extra hunger when you're playing against somebody that's kind of owns you, like that program's owned us over the years.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Kelly.